When we talk about building muscle, especially after the age of 50, what is the first word that always comes to mind? Protein. Am I right? We're told to eat more chicken, drink protein shakes, and track our protein intake religiously. But what if I told you that for millions of seniors, all that extra protein isn't working as it should? That the real key to unlocking muscle strength, reducing cramps, and boosting your energy isn't a macronutrient at all, but is, in fact, a single, humble mineral that most people, and even many doctors, completely overlook.
Hello, and welcome. Before I even turn to our dear doctor, I want to speak directly to you for a moment. I can feel so many of you watching right now, perhaps with a heavy heart, feeling that mix of frustration and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of hope after hearing that opening. I know that for so many of you watching, this struggle with losing your strength is real, and it is deeply personal. It's the quiet fear that nobody talks about at the dinner table, and today, we are going to bring it into the light. I'm here with Dr. Morgan, a man of both science and great faith, who is going to help us understand this battle. Doctor, thank you for being here to guide us through this.
It is my privilege, Sarah. And to everyone watching, what I want you to hear today is a message of profound hope. The frustration you feel is valid, but I want you to know it is not your fault. You have not failed. You may have just been missing one crucial piece of the puzzle that God, in His wisdom, designed for our bodies.
A missing piece. I think that's what we're all searching for. Can you tell us more through a story?
Of course. I want you to meet a gentleman in your mind's eye. We'll call him Robert, a 68-year-old retired accountant from Chicago. And as I tell you about Robert, I want you to ask yourself if any of this sounds familiar. Robert was doing everything right. He ate his chicken. He had his eggs. He walked every day. But he would sit in my office and say, "Doctor, I feel like I'm fading. I get these terrible leg cramps in the middle of the night that jolt me awake. I'm doing all the work, but I feel my strength slipping away. I pray to God I don't become a burden on my family."
I pray I don't become a burden. Doctor, that single sentence is the unspoken prayer of millions. It's what this is all truly about, isn't it? Independence, dignity.
It is everything. And here is the wonderful truth. Robert's body wasn't failing him. His spirit wasn't weak. He was simply missing a key that unlocks the nourishment he was already consuming. He had the building blocks, the protein, but he was missing the divine spark to put them together. That spark is magnesium. It's a reminder of what a miraculous creation the human body is. God designed this incredible machine, and He also placed the simple tools from the earth into our hands to help it run properly.
So, without this mineral, this spark, the protein we eat can't do its job properly.
That is the profound truth. Think of it this way. Your body knows how to build muscle. It's in the blueprint of your creation. But for the actual construction to happen, for those chemical reactions to fire correctly, magnesium must be present. It is a non-negotiable part of the divine design. And this is not just philosophy. It is documented science. A major review in 2021 in the journal Nutrients confirmed this. It looked at data from thousands of people and found a direct link. Those who honored their bodies with more magnesium had stronger muscles and better physical function.
So science is simply uncovering the instruction manual that God already wrote for our bodies.
What a beautiful way to put it, Sarah. Yes. Another study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors with the highest magnesium levels kept more of their muscle over the years, even more so than those who just ate more protein. It's a testament to the fact that wellness is about synergy, about all the parts working together as they were intended. When we gave Robert's body the magnesium it was crying out for through simple foods, something wonderful happened. The cramps that plagued his nights began to cease. He started sleeping through the night, and as you know, sleep is a sacred time for healing. With that rest, his energy returned. He was partnering with his body's God-given ability to heal.
This is so much more than just a science lesson. This is about understanding our bodies as a gift and learning how to care for them properly. My heart goes out to every single one of you who has felt that frustration Robert felt. So let's do something together, as a community of faith and hope. If this story, this feeling of being unheard in your struggle, resonates with you, please share a 1 in the comments below. Let's lift each other up and show how many of us are on this journey together. And I humbly ask you to subscribe to our channel. It is free, and it is our ministry to bring this kind of hopeful, healing information to you. Doctor, that story about Robert gives so much hope. To know that the answer wasn't something complicated or expensive, but a simple foundational mineral is truly a blessing. But I think for many of us at home, we want to understand more. We know that it works, but can you help us understand how? What is magnesium actually doing inside our bodies that is so powerful?
That is the perfect question, Sarah, because understanding the how empowers us. It's like being given the owner's manual for this incredible body God has blessed us with. Magnesium's role is not just one thing. It works in several profound, interconnected ways. The first way is something that affects millions of people over 50, and that is its relationship with insulin.
We hear the term insulin resistance a lot. Can you explain in simple terms what that is and how it connects to our muscles?
Absolutely. I want everyone listening to really hear this. Insulin is a hormone, a messenger. One of its most important jobs is to knock on the door of your muscle cells and say, I have some nourishment for you, some sugar for energy, some amino acids for repair. Please open up. When your cells are healthy, they hear that knock and open the door right away. But over time, often due to a diet high in processed foods and sugar, our cells can start to become deaf to that knock. They don't open the door as easily. That is insulin resistance. Your body's response is to have insulin knock louder and louder, meaning your pancreas produces more and more of it, to try to get the message through.
And how does that feel in our bodies? Is that why some people feel so tired after meals or find it so hard to lose that stubborn fat around their middle?
That is exactly right. The fatigue, the weight gain, the energy crashes, they are all signs that your body is struggling with this process. But here is the critical link to muscle. When your muscle cells are resistant to insulin, they are literally being starved of the very building blocks they need to repair and grow. You can eat all the protein in the world, but if the door to the muscle cell is shut, that protein can't get in to do its job. Your muscles get weaker, and your body stays in a state of stress.
So how does magnesium help? How does it help the cells hear that knock again?
Magnesium is like the oil on the hinges of that cellular door. It makes the cell receptors more sensitive to insulin's knock. It helps the door swing open easily again. When you have enough magnesium, insulin doesn't have to shout. It can speak in a normal voice, and the cell listens. The glucose gets in for energy, the amino acids get in for repair, and the whole system starts to function as it was designed to. A powerful randomized controlled trial published in the journal Diabetes and Metabolism confirmed this. Participants who simply added more magnesium for 16 weeks showed significant improvements in their insulin sensitivity. They weren't on a fancy diet or extreme exercise plan. They just gave their bodies this one essential mineral.
So by helping our bodies with insulin, magnesium is directly helping our muscles get the food they need to stay strong. That makes so much sense. You also mentioned inflammation. That's another word we hear all the time.
Yes, and this is the second equally important way magnesium serves us. I want you to imagine inflammation in two ways. There is good inflammation. When you get a cut, your body sends healing cells and it gets red and warm for a few days. That's a healthy temporary response. But there is another kind of inflammation, a chronic kind, that many people are living with every single day without knowing it. It's a low-grade fire, constantly smoldering inside the body. In the scientific community, we even have a term for it as it relates to aging: inflammaging.
Inflammaging. It sounds so draining. What does that internal fire do to our muscles?
It essentially blocks the rebuilding process. That constant inflammatory state sends out stress signals that tell your body, there's an emergency. Don't worry about building new muscle right now. We just need to survive. It's like trying to build a new room on your house while the foundation is constantly on fire. It's impossible. And this is where magnesium acts as one of God's great peacekeepers. It is one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatories we have.
How do we know this for sure, from a scientific standpoint?
The evidence is overwhelming. A landmark meta-analysis, which is a study of many other studies, was published in Current Pharmaceutical Design. It reviewed data from over 1,300 people and found that magnesium supplementation significantly reduced levels of C-reactive protein, or CRP. CRP is the main marker doctors use to measure inflammation in your body. So we have undeniable proof that when you give your body enough magnesium, that internal fire begins to die down. The emergency signals turn off. And only then can your body finally get back to the important work of healing and rebuilding your precious muscle tissue.
It sounds like so many of our physical struggles are connected. The insulin issues, the inflammation, and I have to imagine stress plays a role too. This is something so many of our viewers, especially those caring for others, deal with daily.
Sarah, that is the third and perhaps most profound role of magnesium. It is the mineral of resilience. I want to tell you about another person I worked with, a wonderful woman named Susan, 65 years old, from Florida. Susan was the primary caregiver for her husband, who has a chronic illness. She came to me utterly exhausted, feeling wired and tired. She couldn't sleep soundly, her muscles were always tense, and she felt a constant sense of anxiety. She was the definition of a person under chronic stress.
My heart goes out to Susan and to everyone in that position. It is an incredibly difficult path.
It is. And what Susan didn't know was that her chronic stress was creating a dangerous cycle. The stress hormones her body was producing, like cortisol, were causing her to use up and excrete her magnesium stores at a very high rate. But at the same time, having low magnesium was making her nervous system even more sensitive to stress. So the stress was causing magnesium loss, and the magnesium loss was making her feel even more stressed. It was a downward spiral. A study in the journal Magnesium Research proved this very cycle exists.
So what was the solution for her? It's not like she could just eliminate the stress from her life.
No, and that is the key. We cannot always eliminate our stressors, but we can give our bodies the resources to better withstand them. We didn't put Susan on a complicated diet. We simply focused on adding 1 or 2 magnesium-rich foods to her day, a handful of almonds as a snack, a side of sautéed spinach with her dinner, a small square of dark chocolate in the evening. These were small, comforting additions, and over time, she started to notice a change. She said, "Doctor, the situation with my husband hasn't changed, but I've changed. I feel grounded. I'm sleeping a little deeper. The tension in my shoulders is a little less." She was building her resilience from the inside out, using one of nature's simplest gifts. And to everyone watching right now, especially those of you who are caregivers, who are dealing with chronic pain, or just feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, please hear this. Giving yourself this kind of nourishment is not selfish. It is essential. It is the act of filling your own cup so that you can continue to pour into others. If you've been with us on this journey so far, and this message is speaking to your heart, please let us know by typing A2 in the comments and tell us where you are watching from. Seeing our community stretch across the country and the world is a beautiful reminder that we are all connected in this human experience.
Doctor, thank you for explaining all of that so clearly and with such compassion. Understanding how magnesium works for our insulin, our inflammation, and our stress response makes its importance undeniable. It's not just about one symptom, it touches everything. So, this leads to the most important question for everyone watching at home. For the person who wants to feel more stable on their feet, improve their balance, and specifically build back their leg strength, where do we practically begin? I know you believe the answer should start on our plates, not just in a pill bottle.
Always, Sarah. It must start with our food. Supplements can have a place in specific situations, but they should be a supplement to a good diet, not a substitute for one. God's pharmacy is found in nature in whole foods, where nutrients exist in a beautiful, complex synergy that science is only beginning to fully understand. The great tragedy of our time is that the modern food environment has systematically and quietly pushed these healing foods off our plates.
What do you mean by that, Doctor? It feels like the grocery stores are bigger than ever.
The stores are bigger, but they are often filled with what I call nutrient-displaced foods. It's a concept I want everyone to understand because it's not your fault. It's what happens when ultra-processed items, things in crinkly bags and colorful boxes, start to crowd out the real whole foods that nourished humanity for centuries. Think about white bread, sugary breakfast cereals, packaged snacks, and most frozen dinners. These foods are designed to be irresistible and have a long shelf life, but they are calorie-dense and nutrient-poor. The very process of refining a grain of wheat into white flour strips away about 80% of its magnesium. That essential mineral is discarded by design. So we are filling our stomachs, but we are unknowingly starving our muscles and bones. The data on this is startling. The large NHANES survey, a major national health study in the United States, shows that nearly half of all adults over 50 are not getting the recommended daily amount of magnesium. It is a silent epidemic.
And you've mentioned before that even the healthy whole foods we buy might be less nutritious than they were for our grandparents.
That is another unfortunate truth we must face with wisdom, not despair. Modern agricultural practices have been driven by a focus on yield, growing things big and fast, not on nutrient density. Authoritative studies have shown the magnesium content in many common vegetables has declined significantly over the last 50 to 70 years. This is largely due to soil depletion. This doesn't mean we give up. It means we must be more intentional and wiser in our choices now than ever before. We must actively choose to put these foundational minerals back into our bodies.
So let's get very practical and hopeful. Where do we find this blessed magnesium? What are the specific foods we should be lovingly and intentionally adding back to our plates?
The good news is that they are simple, affordable, and delicious foods. They are gifts from the earth. First on the list must be dark leafy greens. I want you to think of spinach, Swiss chard, kale, and beet greens. Sautéing a big bunch of spinach with a little garlic and olive oil is one of the easiest, quickest, and most effective ways to boost your magnesium intake. It wilts down to almost nothing, so be generous with it. Second, we must rediscover the power of legumes. This is a category of food I wish every single person would embrace again. Black beans, lentils, chickpeas, and white beans. They are not only rich in magnesium, but they are packed with fiber that nourishes the good bacteria in our gut, which in turn helps our entire body. A simple, warming lentil soup or adding a scoop of black beans to your salad can make a profound difference. The research is so clear on this. We see direct correlations between higher magnesium levels and functional power. Things like a firm grip and, most critically for preventing falls, real, measurable leg strength.
That is a powerful connection. Greens and beans. What else is in God's pharmacy for us?
Third, we have nuts and seeds. Well, I've discussed seeds before. Pumpkin seeds are a true magnesium superstar. Almonds and cashews are also wonderful choices. A small handful makes a perfect blood sugar stabilizing snack that helps you avoid reaching for something processed in the afternoon. And I have to give special mention to two more. Avocados, which are creamy, delicious, and filled with healthy fats, potassium, and magnesium. And for a healthy indulgence, high-quality dark chocolate. And by that, I mean chocolate with 70% cacao or higher. It is one of the most delicious and concentrated sources of magnesium you can find. A small square in the evening can be a beautiful, nourishing ritual.
That is a wonderful list. It doesn't sound like a diet of deprivation at all. It sounds abundant and joyful.
It is meant to be joyful. Health and joy were always intended to walk hand in hand. But I also know, from talking to so many people like Robert and Susan, that changing lifelong habits can feel overwhelming. So I want to offer a very simple tool to everyone listening. It's not a strict rule, just a gentle guide. I call it the 1-1-1 rule. Each day, just try your best to include 1 serving of a magnesium-rich legume or seed, 1 serving of a dark leafy green, and 1 anti-inflammatory herb or spice, like turmeric, ginger, or garlic. Let me show you how simple that is. For breakfast, perhaps you have oatmeal with a sprinkle of almonds. For lunch, a big spinach salad. For dinner, a chicken or fish dish with a side of vegetables seasoned with turmeric. You see, you've already done it. Without stress or complicated meal plans. It's a pattern of grace.
The 1-1-1 rule. It's simple, it's memorable, and it feels completely achievable. It's not about a perfect diet, it's about a consistent, loving pattern of self-care.
Exactly. And the real goal here, the purpose that I want everyone to hold in their hearts, is that eating for muscle after 50 isn't about vanity or looking a certain way. It's about having the strength to live the life you were created to live. It's about having the leg strength to get up from the floor after playing with a grandchild, to walk confidently up a flight of stairs in a place of worship, or to simply enjoy a long walk in a park with someone you love without pain or fear. That is the kind of functional, joyful strength we are seeking. It is strength for the sake of service, for the sake of connection, and for the sake of love.
That truly puts everything into perspective. It's about strength for a purpose. As we bring our conversation to a close, I just want to say thank you for being with us today, for opening your hearts and your minds to this message. What we've learned is that our bodies are a precious gift, and that nature, God's pharmacy, has provided these simple, powerful tools to help us care for them. The key takeaways are so clear. First, that magnesium is a foundational key to unlocking the power of protein and keeping our muscles strong and free of cramps. Second, that it works deeply within us, helping our bodies manage insulin, calm inflammation, and buffer the effects of daily stress. And third, that we can find this incredible gift in delicious whole foods like leafy greens, beans, nuts, and seeds. Now, we would love to hear from you. Please take a moment to reflect and share with our community in the comments below. What is one magnesium-rich food you plan to lovingly add to your plate this week, and what meal will you add it to? Let's inspire one another with practical, wonderful ideas. If this message of hope and healing has touched you, please give this video a thumbs up. It truly helps spread this work to others who need it. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss a conversation with Dr. Morgan. And please, share this video with someone you love. You never know whose life and prayers you might be answering. Thank you so much for your time and your trust.
Be well, and God bless you all.
Until next time, take care.